My name is Julie Roth-Novak. I am the CEO and co-founder of PartySlate. I'm so excited for the topic today. I know everyone knows like I'm a tech geek and I love SEO and I love efficiency, and people make fun of me for saying things like best practices. I guess I come from this consulting background, so I'm just excited about that. But today's topic is new ways to leverage technology to save time. But I would say in addition to saving time, it's staying competitive, it's being efficient, improved collaboration. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I'm excited to have two amazing panelists. If you guys could, in the chat, just kind of, I should have had my chat ready to go, but it was not. You can change it to all attendees and participants. If you have any questions throughout, please, we would love to hear your questions, because I think this is going to be a really good conversation. But today's topic and panel really came when I was talking to, I guess, Paul and Lauren. We were talking in Liron about how during the pandemic, really people were really, I don't want to say forced, but really to rethink their business and work on their business versus being in their business. And I just wanted to bring kind of the collective thoughts that we had together to the industry so that we can really work on helping small businesses embrace technology, not be scared of technology, to improve their business. So first, before we get started, Paul, I would love for you to share your kind of founding story. And I know Lauren couldn't be with us today from LLG Events. She had her father passed away. I'm so sorry for your loss, but we're so glad to have you to tell a little bit about what you're seeing in technology, your technology platform that you built for event planners, and just hear a little bit about how you got into the events world.
Sure, definitely. So I'm Paul Grech, co-founders of LLG Events with Lauren. I do all the back of house stuff for her. And then also co-founder, CEO of Eventique. And the way we got into the industry was, Lauren had this huge passion for events, and we actually worked for free at a venue out on Long Island, and we worked every single night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, till every single position you could think of. And we did that for about 6 to 8 months to build up the experience that we needed to. And then when we sat down one night at a kitchen table for LG Events, we just decided, let's go for it. And then that's where our challenge of how do we build now an events business comes from. On the side, I'm also a technologist, and I knew that a lot of the problems that I came across within the industry could be solved through technology. And Eventique is really kind of that culmination of the technical experience that I have, as well as firsthand dealing with the problems of not only just planning events, but building a business behind that in order to best serve your clients, and in order to do that in a way that is scalable and efficient and really just enjoyable.
Yeah, when I created PartySlate, I was trying to solve my own problem, and I often find that that's the best. The entrepreneurs, or they're solving a problem they had. I was on the party host side. I was hosting these events. I was looking for amazing venues. I was looking for inspiration, and I could only find kind of wedding blogs. I was looking for corporate and fundraisers. So I love that you guys were solving your own problems with your event planning business with Eventique. So we'll come back to that in a little bit, but yeah, I'm just excited. And I love that story about how you worked for free to learn all aspects of the business. I love that hustle, because unless you've walked in the shoes of so many different people in the industry, it is hard to be really good at what you do. So that's amazing. Liron, you have been around the industry for a long time, and I have to say you made a really great cameo in the WeWork's Netflix movie. So I mean, famous.
Hulu.
Oh, Hulu. Okay, sorry. Hulu. I should have said Hulu. But tell us a little bit of how you got started in events. Tell us about your business,
Sure.
Multiple businesses, and then maybe if we have time at the end, we can hear some stories about that documentary.
Sure. So I was always the party guy. I was a nightclub DJ in college. When I graduated, people started asking me to do their wedding and bar mitzvah and my mom's friend's kids party. And I started Eventique in 2006, just after I graduated college. Never looked back, as long as I was able to make people happy and see smiles and create a great energy in a gathering, or any type of gathering. That was my happy spot. So that's my passion, and getting people together. And so Eventique We're a full service production and creative agency. And in 2019, November, I opened up my first event space, Levon 541, which
We
really
love that
excited
space,
to.
by the way. It's very popular in PartySlate.
Thank you. So very excited and excited to see the business coming back after, for a live events venue. But ultimately, over the last 2 years, I've been sort of thinking about the challenges that we face as an event planner, an event producer, sourcing products and trying to, do deals nationally, all, replicating whether it's the same event or different events, all it's the same time or different times, but trying to find really great products and vendors that I could book and find specific products from those suppliers or services. So it was very hard to find that. So we decided to build Eventbox, which was a marketplace where you can transact as a planner to purchase specific items for your event.
And we were talking about it earlier, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, but I see all these Facebook groups like, can you find this dance floor? Can you find this cotton candy vendor? It's not an efficient marketplace. So the fact that you took that problem and tried to, really build an elegant solution around that, again, as a technology co-founder, it's not easy. It's really hard.
We still find
problems you're solving are great.
We still find ourselves as a planner. You're still on Google, you're on Instagram, you're on Pinterest. You're trying to get to that cool, innovative product. And where do you find it and where do you buy it? Right. So I think it's a collaboration amongst everything right now that's in the industry. And we've got to collaborate more than ever.
Awesome. Well, as I do my context setting, I also want to introduce Marley, who's here with us. Marley leads our customer success team. So all our premium members that have our white glove service and making the profiles great and SEO optimization. So Marley is going to be taking any questions that you have. We also had some questions submitted earlier that we're going to ask of our panel. So Marley, thank you for joining us.
I will be chiming in here and there, guys.
Okay, great. Just to share my screen really quickly for the agenda, we're going to talk about why technology is important to really scale your business and to really compete. But we're also going to focus on 3 main areas: event planning, sourcing, and sales and marketing. So I'm going to start with Paul, then we're going to go to Liron, and then I'm going to end with sales and marketing, and then finally some resources and how we can help. But just to start, and I know I've had probably 500 meetings with event professionals over the last year. And I know it's much more than just PartySlate. When I talk to small businesses, I do strongly believe that the companies that best leverage technology, that are great content marketers, are going to be the ones that win. Of course, you need to have talent. Of course, you need to have all the skills to do the job. But I think that a differentiator could be leveraging really smart technology to run your business that can be very complicated. So in addition to saving time, there's so much better communication, improved collaboration and coordination, organization. I'm going to talk a little bit about photo organization and having these assets ready to go when you need them, but also, customer expectations are on the rise. And so I had an event professional in Chicago send me kind of a PDF to pay. And I'm like, I'm kind of used to doing a form that, fills in with Apple Pay or PayPal. Or I'm used to that from, Uber to Etsy to, Airbnb. You've become accustomed to this seamless interactions. And I think that's why we all have to be top of our game to think through what are the expectations of our customers and how can we make things easier. So I know at PartySlate, we think about that day in and day out of how we can make things easier and take things off your plate. And so I think it is overwhelming to think about the full technology landscape of what you need to run your business. So we're just going to focus on 3 areas that may be helpful. One is kind of the core business of event planning and coordination. We're going to talk about sourcing, which Liron, again, has so much experience with for his business, but also through Eventbox. And then I'm going to end with sales and marketing. So that's kind of where we're going to start. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So just to get started, Paul, let's talk a little bit about the pain points that you are trying to solve. And many people are, for event planning, you're using Google Sheets, people are using Monday boards. They're doing a lot of things today to solve these problems. And I know in my experience, my co-founder always says to me that the solution has to be 10 times better to get behavior to change, right? To get them to leave. Sometimes it's just pen and whiteboard or pen and paper. What have you guys found are those 3 or 4 key problems that you're trying to solve for event planners?
Sure. So as we all know, events are extremely complicated. The devil is really in the details. And as you put a business behind that, it just exponentially gets more difficult to manage those events. Planning
Yes.
one is you can probably get away with a Google Sheet, but then when you go to 5, 10, 30, it just becomes exponentially more difficult. And as you add team members to that, it just continues to add to that complexity. And I find that most planners, Lauren, I see this in amazement, have an incredible aptitude for just memorizing the details.
Yeah.
They just store it in their head. Sometimes they'll work with a notebook or a spreadsheet, or they'll just store things in their email accounts. But the problem really comes in where all of that information now flows through a single person, and that becomes a bottleneck. And what happens if you want to go on a vacation, or you get sick, or you have personal commitments? And we realized this, over the weekend when Lauren's father unfortunately passed away, where she couldn't continue to run and plan the events the way that she wanted to. She needed to take time to take care of what she needed to take care of. But her team of coordinators and her 30 plus events that she's actively working on got together on their Monday morning. Everyone knew exactly what had to happen. Everyone knew exactly what their responsibilities were. And everyone knew those details of the conversations that needed to happen with the vendors, with the clients that needed to push things forward. And it really and then on top of that, it provided her with the transparency, because obviously, planners, they like to have control of things. I'm no different from that.
Yeah.
But it provided the transparency that you really need in order to feel comfortable with moving things forward and ensuring that those tasks are getting done.
Yeah, I think that when you talk about scaling a business and even just efficiently running a business, it's so important to think about, like, what is the scenario if you weren't there? Would the business be able to continue to run? And do you have scalable processes? Which is, again, why I always talk about best practices, because like you can't be a company of one, otherwise you'll never grow. And even if you are a company of one, you have people you're coordinating with that are not directly on your team that need to be in the loop.
Exactly.
And so that coordination and the tasks are key things. What are some of the other problems that you were looking to solve? And then I would love to tell the story of, you had this event planning business. When did you decide, you know what, I'm gonna build something that actually solves the problems that I have?
Yeah. So the first phase of Evie was actually a Google Sheet document that I made that would track essentially every possible thing you could think of. But our clients would constantly break it. I had to spend a lot of time training people on how it worked. And it was, it did the job, but it was very difficult to maintain. But it allowed me to focus in on kind of 4 key problem areas of details. The first of which is tasks. So accountability, who's responsible for what, responsible to be done by when, and where are we in that planning process, right? That process that lives in someone's head in a document, in an Excel spreadsheet. The second thing is the event budget. So we've built budgets for our company using QuickBooks or any other accounting software, but our finances of our business are very separate from the finances of our events, which is really the finances of our clients as compared to our vendors. And putting together a point solution for that budget was also critical and a huge problem that we faced. Then we had the guest list, and the guest list we dealt with having the details of the individual guests, then having that address list that the stationers needed, and every stationer has a different format that they wanted to see in, whether it's an Excel document or a PDF, certain order of columns, whatever it may be. And then finally, we always had to provide a vendor list, a guest list to our venue, which was broken down by tables. And maintaining those relationships in Excel become very burdensome and oftentimes break very easily. The third problem was our timelines. So putting together our timelines and seeing how we can compare them, again, can be done in Excel, breaks constantly. We want to color coordinate. It's very difficult to keep that consistent, which created a lot of overhead. And then finally, it was just an overall insight into our business. We could create folders of these on Google Drive. But when we wanted to see how things were going between the different folders, there was no way to do that. There was no tracking.
There's no analytics or dashboard that you can do.
Exactly. And those were all things that were constantly in my mind. kind of as the business manager to LOG events, but also as Lauren's day of coordinator, as well as being the lead planner for some of our events. And those were really the immediate problems that we tackled when we started to build EviPlanner.
And so can you walk us through kind of a use case of like what it looks like to use the platform? And I know there's many platforms out there. So again, I really want to advocate to use technology to be efficient. I was impressed when I saw kind of this point solution I think sometimes there's something called feature bloat where there's so many things that you get overwhelmed and you don't even know where to start. What I love when you guys showed it to me was the simplicity of it. And just the basics of taking those jobs to be done or those key challenges and putting them on a platform.
Yeah, and that's kind of the trend in the tech industry, isn't it? Where it's, why don't we create a generic solution and then make it available to as many people as possible? And in that process, there's a dilution of features where it just becomes way too generic that you're pretty much working in a glorified spreadsheet. And it could work for you, but now you spend a lot of time on setup and you have to almost be your own product manager in order to figure out what that solution you need is.
Right.
And EviPlanner is not meant to replace certain things. We still have a domain with your professional email. We still use Squarespace and PartySlate and social media for our marketing and for our content management. And we still use Slack for communication and various Google, G Suite tools like Google Calendar. But EviPlanner was built to kind of hit that middle spot, which is that administrative overhead where you need to manage the details, those things that fall through the cracks, that sit in your hundreds of unread emails that you wake up to every Monday through Friday, turn into 300 over the weekend when you're busy producing the event. And that's really what we wanted to focus on, was create these light versions of our tools where you go into the app, you invite your team members so you can all collaborate, you add your clients so that they can be added to the event, and you know which client is part of which event. And you can manage your vendor list. So you can manage your preferred vendor list as well as your vendors and the contacts. And then once you onboard with those various parties, you created this three-way ecosystem between planner, vendor, and client. And in the middle is your event. And on that event is where we created those solutions I mentioned before, where you can manage the tasks, manage the budget, the guest list, the timelines, and then get analytics across.
And feel free, Paul, if you want to share your screen, I would love just to give a quick demo, and then we're going to go over to Liron and ask some of the similar questions about sourcing.
Sure.
But I would love to. I think seeing it is easier to understand how it works. And again, my main point is you should always evaluate what your problems are and how you can be more efficient, and then find technology to solve those solutions. Never lead with technology, but my goal is to raise awareness of as many solutions to help people run better businesses, especially small businesses that don't have a big tech infrastructure team.
Exactly. I'm going to share my screen really quickly.
Okay. And when did this launch, Paul?
Sure. So our first iteration of this went out probably last May. I actually quit my job to be full-time on this last April. So it's been just over a year. Thank you. And since then, we've iterated on it at least a half a dozen times. We've fully updated the style and the design of the app about 3 times. We've put in better graphics that are much more reactive. The whole app is mobile friendly, so you can use it on an iPad or on an iPhone or an Android device. And we've also recently added in our beta timeline feature, which I'll take you through as well. But pretty much when you go in, here is where you start. This is your event dashboard. So this is where you see everything going on with an event. You see the number of tasks assigned to the various people on this event. So we have 3 coordinators and 2 clients. And then when we go into here, the first tool you'll typically use is your task list. And this gives you the task from when you start planning to when you actually execute on that event. You can expand all 3 of these, and this shows you everything completed, anything running late. And this is you can drag and drop these tasks, automatically resolves the date for you. So it really gives you the ability to manage that task list in a much better fashion than if it was just sitting in in an Excel document or something like that. The other tool I was talking about is our budget tool. Great visualizations around our budget tool, where you estimate out your budget, then you put in your contracts and the payments schedules that you'd have. And you can also click on these visualizations to see how that budget breaks down, the percentage associated with it. maybe you just want to see estimated, or you just want to see contracted, or even you want to just do a filter for everything over budget. You see the two areas that are running over budget. So just examples of how all these things that you could probably do within that Excel spreadsheet, but now it's very fast. The whole team has access to it. And, as we know, events are very repetitive. So we created a
Yes.
duplicate event feature where you can go into here, copy your tasks, assign a new coordinator. So I'll assign this to Lauren and myself, add this to a new client, and then we can put another event name, maybe change the event date. So this one's going to be for August, and then we can create a copy of that.
So
And
I love that feature because there are so many, maybe 80% are repetitive tasks for any
exactly,
event. And
exactly.
just so you don't have to start from scratch each time. And again, that's scalable. If you're bringing on a new team member, you're bringing on an intern, it's great to have everything
And
in
as
the
you can see,
cloud.
we have all of those tasks are now in here.
Yeah.
We've cleared the state for them. You can go through, assign to whoever you need to, but we resolved all of your dates for you. We
Yeah.
did it across the same timeline. So maybe you have a template for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And now you can really kind of continue to work fresh through that.
Yeah. I think one of the most
Paul. Just going to chime in with a quick question. So I
Sure.
know that you said you had a lot of iterations, over the last year, and the world had certainly changed over the last year, with technology really needing to be the forefront of how we communicate with, our event partners and our clients. And I do know that LLG and many of the people that use EviPlanner are do destination events as well. Have you found that you had to make changes, that really helped implement that over the past year, from learning, like working remote, maybe your clients are in a different city, things like that? Any changes that you find helpful?
Yeah, 100%. And that, I mean, what you're really hitting on is any destination planner already knew that they needed to figure out a way to be remote. We've done events in Europe with probably the craziest is Lauren's Bora Bora wedding, where the clients were in California. We are in New York. We have vendors from all over the world, Australia, Europe, US, going to this one location to produce this event. And that really forced us to think about what it looked like to have a remote workspace. How can we collaborate? And this was before kind of the Zoom craze. We were using Google Hangout. We had that worksheet that I created. And I really wish that I had EviPlanner at the time of doing that. But
Yeah.
the nice thing is this is born from the struggles that we faced firsthand.
Yeah.
This is what we dealt with, and these are the solutions that we built to it. All the way from, I showed you the task list, building out timelines, where you can now create timelines in the same fashion that you have, Google Calendar, where you can create a new column here. Maybe you want to create a catering timeline, assign that to one of our coordinators. And now you can create timelines next to each other. And it's as simple as drag and drop, and you add, delivery of F&B, let's say, and you assign this to one of your coordinators or a vendor, and it creates that action on your calendar for you.
That's great.
And now you can have those timelines next to each other. You can drag and drop these to change things. You can expand them. So we really took a lot of those features that you'd see in modern tech applications and made them available for planners. And that's really where the founding team has leveraged their skill sets to take expertise throughout various areas of tech and bring it available for the events industry.
And the main difference of, like, again, a Google Sheet or a Monday board or many other platforms is this is custom built for the events world, where
Exactly.
there's vendors, there's the client, there's collaboration happening, and the elements are budget, timeline, guests, tasks. Those are the key things
Exactly.
that go into really any event that you're planning.
Yeah, right under this manage tab, you just add your team members. You can invite them, they'll be part of it. You can then add your clients, you can add your vendors, you go to your events list and you create a new event and you just pull it all together. And then that's where you land on our event dashboard, and you get going. And
That's
then we
great.
have our planning dashboard. So this is everything that one person is assigned to. So this is your personal workspace, as well as all the events that you're working on in parallel. And then as a business owner, you have also your company dashboard, where you see an overview of everything going on within your events business. So we've really kind of thought of the different views that planners need to see at the event level, at the personal level, and then at the company level, of the information for your events.
awesome.
And coming from a website design background where we did complex, multi-team, multi-million-dollar projects, we always had a project management software, but some of them had so many features, like you don't need that for an event. You
Exactly.
need 10 features. They are largely repetitive. And if you can get those right and not have to do a lot of customization of the platform that you pick, that's really exciting. So I'm going to come back to you, Paul, because I want to hear more about like what's next and what you think is coming. But Liron, I want to turn over to you. Tell us a little bit about your founding story. So when you started off in the event production, you launched a venue, but this whole time you were thinking about some of these problems that you faced in doing larger scale events. Tell us when you made that decision, like I'm going to solve that problem.
Sure. So we, from planning events nationally, became where we really found the challenges coming to life, right? You're going to a new market, client asks you to source, come up with a great concept, and ultimately provide budget and pricing within a very short period of time, right?
Especially for corporate, right? It's like,
especially for corporate.
And it's in 3 months, right? 2 months.
Correct. So where do you begin, right? If it's a market you already know, great. You may have your contacts on the ground, you'll call, but most of the time you're not going to want to use what you did last year. You're going to want something new for the client, or you're going to want to find out what's the most innovative product or service that's available in the local market before you start having people travel there. And then how do you find out once you find this item, or whether you found it on Google or Instagram or Pinterest or PartySlate, how do you know how much it costs, right? As you're reaching out to the vendor, number one, you're calling or you're sending a lead. Now you're waiting for follow-up. All this time is ticking, and you multiply that by how many, how much outreach you're really doing. And you find yourself still sitting there, setting up a meeting for another phone call for another meeting. And then ultimately you may find out that the vendor is the product is out of your budget, right? Or it had requirements that you weren't planned for based on the venue that you were sourcing, whether it was power or whether it was space, footprint, height, ceiling height. So how do you shop efficiently? And also once you find these providers, how do you know that they're vetted, right? So you still have to go through your vetting process. And so for us, it was a big challenge. It took a lot of time. It was not very efficient. And I wanted to build this database internally for us so that as we grew and more planners and more producers got added to our team, we had this growing database of how we were planning internally to be more efficient. And especially if we opened up other offices in other markets, how do we share this information? So, and keep it transparent. So that was the challenge that we faced. And I said, well,
I know you said before that you kind of became the marketplace, like the go-to guy, like where do I get this? Where do I get that? That's not very scalable. Like, and you're also not getting like credit for that because you're like helping all these people. So you're like, how can I take everything in my head and then scale that from a sourcing perspective?
Correct. And most planners these days, you're obviously making commission when there's the opportunity, or there's a markup, or there's a fee that you're charging for your time and your services. But the sourcing takes endless amounts of hours and vetting and pricing out. And if we could streamline that for ourselves and streamline it for others, it will make us more efficient, but also bring something to the industry in a more transparent way. So that's Eventbox in an overcoming challenge story, but it's really just an online marketplace giving these meeting planners the opportunity to transact and book these products and services and find out what the price is at before they do that outreach.
So could you walk us through, let's say before we were talking on like you want a large, for when PartySlate has our events, we always have an AV partner that usually provides everything. But let's say you're a planner and you need a large scale screen, a lit up something, and you just need to find, instead of going to the Facebook group, like, does anyone know anyone that can do this? You could come to Eventbox and find that large scale light up screen that you need for your corporate event.
Sure. So I missed one point that is key to this. So the approach that we've taken was to commoditize in a way the products and services, right? So as a planner, you know what you want the vision to look like, but you've got to put that and build it and put it together. So while yes, you say I need a screen for the stage, you may need a stage, you may need a sound system, you need some lighting for the stage, you need a backdrop or scenic elements to the stage. How do you put all these pieces together, right? It's still a job to put those pieces together, and you might need a creative team, a renderer. So we've commoditized the packages so that they're ready to purchase. Instead of booking one chair and then saying, well, I need 10 of these, we're saying it's a lounge furniture package, good for 25 people. This is what it looks like. This is what's included. And here are the options you can change based on color or pillows, for example, right? So a lot more streamlined to shop. And the package pricing is transparent, straight from the vendor. So you know what you're getting, you know what you're buying. So when you reach out to them, you can make those efficient decisions in who you book.
Got it. And for the
question. Oh, sorry.
sure.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I want to chime in with this because you just mentioned it, Liron. What is your vetting process for vendors and products? I know everyone has a horror story of something that they ordered and maybe it didn't come through, or someone that they didn't enjoy working with. Do you have a vetting process to make sure that the people on your platform are legitimate?
Yeah, so any vendor or supplier can sign up until they're approved by our internal team who's doing the vetting. What vetting means, number one, we're checking their portfolios. We do ask for references from whether it's partners or industry professionals who've worked with them. We also check their general liability insurance and workers' comp. So some of the elements that are going to protect the end planner, and find out how many years they've been in business. So even if they're a new startup, that's great, as long as they're capable of not just having one of an item. And if that one item breaks, there's no backups.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Awesome. Liron, why don't you show us like a kind of a use case of how you have a big event coming up, you're looking for something, and you have a quick timeline. It's kind of a point solution you're looking for on what you can do. Because I know, again, to differentiate, because people have asked me this about PartySlate, we're really about the consumer event inspiration, anyone planning an event inspiration, and quickly get them to find their team. But we've made the choice to really be more like a house, like the inspiration leading to the venue, leading to the planner, and then they do the rest. But you're really taking the mindset of, okay, now you have a planner, and the planner's looking for the screen and the this and the that. How do they go here and source something that they know they need, but they don't want to have that inefficient, like Facebook, like, do you know anyone? Like, I see those all the time.
Sure. So what we've tried to lay it out and is by category based on like what type of subcategory that you're shopping for. So you're going to have needs. You may have 90% of the event planned, and now you're looking for that special, like cool, innovative product, right? Or performer. So where do you go? We made it super easy to go through the categories. Ultimately, you can also source based on location and searching on a category yourself. So here I am, I'm planning Liron's bar mitzvah, and I'm looking for a cool backdrop for my stage for the DJ. And I come upon this really cool light box. So I'm going to click on the light box. Every product has a micro page, so you can go and look at different pictures of the product. You've got a description, additional details. So whether there's additional costs or any parameters, power. You can also message the vendor at the bottom, and it goes back and forth just like a G chat. You get alerts through emails when you do have a message. So very familiar messaging tool, just like you would see in any online platform.
That's great. And you can also track the conversations, like what's happening.
Everything gets tracked. So every purchase, transaction, question, document that's shared between you and the provider, and you can see who the provider is as well. So you do have that opportunity to understand, number one, who you're buying from. If you're interested in this, you've got your price. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly add this to my quote request folder. So the next step, and it's about 3 or 4 steps to go ahead and get this done. You're going to choose what event this is for. So the goal of what we've done here is not just to send a lead, but you can shop for one event across different categories, or for multiple events, within the same hour that you're doing your shopping and sourcing, and go and choose which event you want to apply this product to. So I'm going to go.
Even like AV companies could even use this because they don't have everything in inventory. They will still be the AV company, but they could source a product this way too.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So here I am. I've got Liron's mitzvah. I added it to that. It's going to come up and bring up just a couple questions, right? So this is what it's ultimately going to go into the contract form or proposal form that the vendor is going to get. So it's not just an open lead. We want to give the vendor as much information as possible so they're giving you an accurate price. So I'd like 4 of these light boxes. It's got my event start date already from the profile. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in When I want delivery the day before, and I'm going to put it from 5 p.m. and I'm going to go put my
And if they
delivery.
do have a bigger order, let's say they needed 20 screens and they wanted to negotiate, because everyone likes to negotiate a little, how do you kind of build that in? Is that in the messaging that you can go back and forth?
Correct. So if once you receive a quote, you have the option to accept it, reject it, or ask for a counter quote. You
Okay.
can also message with the counter quote request saying, hey, this is $2,000 over my budget, or can you do any better on price? You could do that through messaging or directly. It's all tracked in the messaging.
I love that.
You can go ahead and duplicate this. And then now my breakdown time is going to be on that evening of the event at 11 p.m. Out until 1:30 a.m. Great. And I'm going to go ahead 1:30 a.m. Great. And I'm going to ask, like, what format do you need my graphic in? So this will go back to the vendor. You'll click add, and now it goes into your quote request folder. So before you send the quote, you can shop and send out, you prepare these quotes, as many as products as you like, and you can go ahead and check off the item and say send request. So you can go ahead, it's as easy as that. The vendor just got your quote. Once they reply, because their inventory is in the system, they can efficiently reply because the pricing is there. So all they need to do is look at your time. So if it's a 3-day event or a one-day event, you're going to receive it in your dashboard under accept or reject quotes. So here it is. I'm going to go and view the details of this quote. Here's my quote from the provider. So I can download it. It's all automated. And I have the option to accept it, reject it. Once you accept the quote, it prompts you to make payment. So you've got 24 hours after accepting a quote to make payment in full. And once you make payment and confirm, you've got 24 hours still to cancel with a full refund. 120 hours until the quote expires. So vendors have the opportunity, if they get it.
You can prompt people like with email and reminders if they haven't yet accepted or paid.
That's correct. So once you come back to here, we've got automated reminders saying you've got to pay for this quote or it's going to expire by this time. So you do have that.
What have been the most popular kind of categories of things that people are looking for? I'm just curious, as the world, obviously there was the pandemic, so there was virtual and a lot of other things, but what do you see trending now?
So decor, obviously, because of people's backyard events that have happened over the last year. So AV packages also in people's homes. The event spaces have not been as active, so we haven't seen, it's been more private parties that planners have been planning for, some virtual event concepts that people have booked for their corporate clients or organization or foundations. Photo booths have been a big driver, always trying to find the next coolest photo booth. And furniture packages to furnish the different areas for virtual sets, or for backyard in private home events.
And is this, I know you do events all over the country. Do most of the people sourcing this, can they travel? Is it mainly New York, Northeast, or what is kind of the scope? Because I know you're in early stages as well of getting this out there. Where are you seeing most traction?
So New York, the Florida market, some in LA, some in Vegas is starting to pick up in terms of like transactions. And interestingly enough, Canada has been a big market. A lot of Canadian planners have been reaching out, and we're working now through upgrading our Stripe processing system for the Canada dollars.
That's awesome.
And just I'll leave you off here just with the dashboard. You always have a way to come back and see what quotes you still need to send to the vendors, what quotes are open to accept or reject, and then ultimately can go back to each event. And you can see how much you've spent on each event and go back and look at all those products and services in one dashboard. And
Well, I think we had a question too. Did we have a question from the audience?
sure.
I have a
Yeah.
question. How do vendors avoid overbooking a product? For example, like if there's pending invoices out for the same item, is there a way for them to, alert people who are interested in a quote or have a quote out?
So this is not tied into a vendor's like POS system or inventory system. So this is strictly a separate tool that they're going to be able to use to get the leads, but turn around the pricing and proposals more efficiently. But they can alert the planner by saying, we have another inquiry, you need to confirm, or can I release the product or service or the date?
I love it. Again, I think it's all about time saving and less back and forth. Even on Slack, there's people that have apps like, can you find this? Can you find that? I think having it all in one place is really amazing. So I think this is a great time saver for people.
Thank you. And also it's just sourcing locally or, allowing will travel and choosing your budget range. So really quickly, you can narrow down.
I want that subway photo opportunity right there.
There you go.
I'm a mitzvah mom planning a bat mitzvah, so it's
That's
great. Awesome. Well, I think these are two good examples of using technology. I'm going to just geek out for about 5 minutes on the marketing side. So Marley, tell me if there's any additional questions, but I'm going to go back to the presentation really quick. So we talked about event planning, we talked about sourcing and efficiency there. On the sales and marketing side, there's 3 areas that I've done. And again, we have templates, we have presentations, but I just want to go through this in 5 minutes of technology that we really strongly suggest, more like systems versus technology. I always hear, and I'm sure you guys hear this too, on like, where are your photos? Like, oh, I'm so busy. I know I haven't tracked them all down. I'm going to get an intern to do it. I'm too busy. I hear all these things over and over. And so what we did is try to create a system like from chaos to order, where you can use just 1 hour a month of your time on your calendar to come up with a streamlined process to organize your photos. And again, some of this you can do in PartySlate, but as far as you get the link from the photographers, you just need 3 simple steps. So choose your cloud-based storage system, Dropbox, Google Drive. There are others. Number 2, people skip this process. Figure out how you're going to organize your events. Is it going to be type by year? I suggest if you're a destination planner, by location. What are the ways you and your team will know where your events are and how to find them? And then the third thing, I had someone, when I trained people on this last time, say this was a breakthrough: create a table of contents that has just a simple Google sheet. And I'll send you our Google sheet, super simple, on where are your drop boxes? What do these look like? These are just the 3 simple steps. And in your index in an Excel or Google Sheets, all you need is your event name, your location, your type, your photographer, and a link to your Dropbox and a link to your credit sheet. You're already creating these things. This is something super, super easy to do. SEO, my second area. I know we're going to run out of time, so I'm going to go really quickly. We strongly recommend using a tool like Ahrefs or others. There's free to Uber suggest tools out there. Figure out what your long tail keywords are that are going to help drive the right traffic. I'm sure Liron and Paul, you're thinking through raising awareness of your own product and what are those keywords. Come up with 20, 30, 50 keywords. Not wedding planner, but San Diego wedding planner, vineyard wedding planner, whatever those things are, and come up with some kind of like the scope of what those words are, and create content on your website, on PartySlate, on social media that tie back and give you authority on those keywords. Again, these Uber suggest or Ahrefs, they may be free versions or very, very low cost to research your keywords. And I'm not going to go through all the details of these definitions, but try to understand the basics of your SEO technology and how we do it. At PartySlate, we have 3 full-time SEO people. I know, Marley, you work really closely with them, that are constantly scanning for what are the words that are going to drive the right high intent people. But how we do that is we come up with what is the right metadata, what is the headline structure, what are the image tags, How do we get the featured snippets? By having that exact answer to the question being answered. So when you do Event Planner New York, PartySlate is first page. When you do Top Caterers in New York, we have a first page result. So those are the things that, again, very, very simple. Google Console, there's many other tools you can use to help you track it. You just need to know what words are driving traffic. And if you're page 2, those are great opportunities to do some tweaking to those pages to drive you up to page 1. And then finally, your PartySlate profile. I'm just going to give you a quick, we have many new people on the Zoom that haven't been on our webinars before. We have created an SEO optimized machine with a PartySlate profile. So again, you can get started with a free profile, or if you want us to do it, we have our white glove service. That's what Marley does. She leads that. This is the Four Seasons Resort, Palm Beach profile page. You can see multiple cover photos, which really, again, helps with SEO. You can see tons of content. You can see a personalized banner that you can promote. Hey, I was in the New York Times, or I launched a new product. As you go down, you can see there's videos. And then the core area here, the photo section, this is where we also have a ton of SEO optimization on. You can add a description here. You can add all your photos, all your event professionals. This is the way you give that page a lot of weight so that Google knows it's updated, it's of use. And of course, when people visit, it's very user-friendly. And then we also added each of your venue spaces with unlimited photos for each section. And then we added this for premium members, testimonials. You can now copy and paste from an email, add it and link it directly to the event that they did. And I think what I love about that is you don't have to worry about the Yelp spamminess. You can control what they say, but you make it real by showing this was a real event. This wasn't just, my mother-in-law, putting a testimony on here. And then we also found the Meet the Team section, people buy from people. I know it's just really easy to see how amazing you can create these SEO rich profiles. And I know LLG, Eventique, you guys have incredible profiles. I just wanted to show that this is a great SEO engine and a photo organization engine that can help scale your business. And in addition to sharing all your photos, you can use it as a sales tool. So if someone said, oh, have you done any corporate events or any product launches, you can click here. And if they had like 5 or 6 product, you can just click and copy the paste the URL and send it to your client. Again, it's all about efficiency and saving time. So I know we only have 10 minutes left, but I just wanted to say little things leveraging technology will save a lot of time for you, but also help build your brand and drive kind of that next level of experience. So I know we have the time went so quickly, but I wanted to ask both Liron and Paul, and then Marley, if you have any questions, let me know on what you see as coming next. Like, what are the next things either on your product that you're building or new trends you're seeing in technology that people should be watching? And Paul, I'll start with you.
Sure. So the thing that I've been watching, and I teach event technology at NYU, so I've been like, this is something I use as like the core of what I think is going to enable technology, is the rollout of 5G. And I say this because a lot of throughout history, it's always been in the cloud, then local, right? And you put something in internet and then it comes back to your laptop. And right now, everything is going into the cloud, but the bottleneck is that connection speed. Not necessarily when you're on a good Wi-Fi network or when you're plugged in at home, but when you're out working at the event. And we're seeing that as 5G rolls out and you have these quicker speeds that have greater throughput to move data back and forth, the rollout of IoT devices, wearable technology, facial recognition for check-in, and these personalized experiences, these are all how you deal with the consumer. And one of the things that I'm really kind of thinking about as far as how we can incorporate this into EviPlanner is to not only take on that administrative component where you're planning the event, but that operational component when you're producing it, right? This way, we all know that events are fluid on the day. Everything you plan can be great, and then something happens and all the timelines change, right? And I think there's a lot of opportunity for EviPlanner to build tools that not only help that planning process, but help that production side. And the first thing we did with ours was, make everything mobile friendly so you can use it on an iPad or an iPhone or whatever you use on the event day. But there's a lot of products and features that we can build that can push you notifications if a timeline was updated by your coordinator,
Yep.
or can help you do quick search or voice search for a special guest because you need to figure out where they're sitting, or they lost their seating card, or their order has changed and you need to know this before you hand in, the orders to the catering side. So that's
Okay.
definitely something where, we're trying to, we're thinking about and brainstorming and trying to understand what those problems are,
Yes.
so we can figure out what we can build for that production side of working on the event day.
I love that. I love that. Liron, what are you seeing that you're excited about?
The fact that over the last year, everyone is more comfortable using technology than ever before.
It's a silver lining that's going to change our business forever. I really think so.
Yeah, and that comfort is going to bring, it's brought already in the last year collaboration, right? So people are doing more with companies that either maybe they competed with or just never crossed paths with, right? So I think like as an industry, the collaboration and the transparency just for the benefit of the end client and like the growth of the industry and coming back, I think is what really is exciting for me. From our product perspective, we're also excited to be rolling out sort of a storefront that vendors, suppliers, but also planners can pull the data from the shopping cart and from the point of transaction and use it in their own white labeled way. So a vendor can now create their own marketplace on their own website as opposed to sending to Eventbox, and it gives them the opportunity to make it look how they want it to look and send their clients, but the whole back end is streamlined for that purchasing process.
I love it. Then you get more kind of stickiness where you have more integration with their workflow and how they do their business, and you become more valuable to those clients.
That's correct. And then planners can create their own shopping lists to send to their customers, white labeled within their own presentation.
I love that. Well, we're at PartySlate really excited about, we're doing a lot more image recognition. So when you're doing inspiration and you're searching for beach wedding, we now have that capability of actually seeing, real beaches. There's always tweaking that needs to happen. We're not Google. We don't have 1,000 developers but we are using really innovative image recognition technology so that we can get a better and better search result as people are looking. We're also excited to continue building out more features on the PartySlate profile so that you can really have this profile page live in between your Instagram and your website and really be that sales tool you use when you're, someone's looking for, have you done a pink bat mitzvah or have you done beach weddings? You have it all there. It's not that in one planner's head. Like, I think it's in that driver. I think it's in 1985 drive, wherever it is, it's all in one place. And again, overall, the use of Zoom, I really think is such a good thing for the industry. In-person events will never be replaced ever. I think there will be more hybrid events, especially in corporate, but I think the day-to-day communication and being able to share screens, I think is really, really good for our industry and maybe may lead to a little better lifestyle. Because again, we're all busy on the weekend and all that. But like maybe that cross-town hour-and-a-half drive in New York City for that 1 hour meeting, it would be great in person, but now that you have Zoom, maybe you could save 3 hours by doing a Zoom instead. I think that adoption of this technology is going to make a big difference for our hardworking industry.
I don't know how we used to do it without Zoom. It has been such a silver lining.
I agree.
So wonderful. Just a question to wrap things up. So Liron, I know that your marketplace is complimentary to use. Anyone can log on and, order your services. Paul, do you have anything if someone wants to try Evie Planner, or what's the best way for them to get, maybe a little taste of what the program could be like before fully committing?
Sure. So right now, live on the site, there's a free 30-day, you could try for free, 30-day free trial. You get access to all of our features. You have unlimited clients, unlimited vendors, unlimited planners. There's a soft limit on the number of events. But beyond that, we also have an influencer program where we're looking for planners to really, push Evie to its limits, try it within their business, bring their team on, give us the product feedback about how they like it, how they think it can improve, and what they think that we can continue to what features we can roll out. And as a thank you for that, we'll incorporate them into our social media campaigns, and make them the forefront of that. And it's no overhead on them. Our internal design team will be taking care of all the social content as well.
That's awesome.
Great. And I always say, like, try before you buy. That's what we
Yep.
do at PartySlate too. Like, start with a free profile, get to feel for what it's like, and then make the commitment that you're going to try it. I just think that's a good model for technology, because it is a big decision that you want to first, feel fluid in it before you give it a try. Liron, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just that we're happy to, like, our concierge team and like our team behind the scenes is happy to help anybody through, a demo, or if you want us to walk you through quoting a product, and work together with you on your first event, we'd be more than happy to. And I saw a question about Eventbox for international countries, coming soon. Right now, just in the US, we want to make sure that we could provide enough of a database of vetted products and services before we roll that out internationally.
Yeah, I would say start local, get your
Yes.
marketplace built up, and then global domination, right, Liron?
That's it.
So, okay, just a quick thing of how we can help on the technology side. First of all, the event index template for photo organization, super easy to use, very simple. We have refined this over the last 5 years. We're happy to send that to you. Of course, if you want to try a free PartySlate profile, if you don't have one already, we'll also send all the contact information for our 2 amazing speakers, if there's any follow-up on their platforms that you have. And then also, again, to continue on our geekiness, we want to really educate the industry on how to use your data to grow your business. And so we just recently launched My PartySlate. We're going to show you how that works, where you can look at the analytics related to your page, but we're also going to talk about how we used consumer research to give us good insights about how people search and how people buy in the early stages. So we're going to share all that data and all that insights and package it up and share that on May 18th. And I'm very excited that our product manager is going to be joining, the person that leads the vision for our product, for our website, is going to be joining and sharing a lot of those thoughts. So I'm very excited. So any final thoughts, Marley? Any other last questions? We have 3 more minutes. This went too fast.
Covered the questions. I think that both of your creations are amazing and couldn't have come at really a better time for the industry. And I'm excited to even spend more time myself, just like exploring and getting to know them a little bit better.
Thank you so much.
And I do want to double down on what Julie said before, is we are experiencing a time of rapid growth. And like, it is so crucial to leverage technology for sourcing and marketing and sales and efficiencies in order to capture that.
Yeah.
And it's, I think it's like one of those things that it's kind of this manufactured situation due to COVID. And it's so critical for people to be in a good spot so that when that business does come in, they can really take off with it. And, not having to go 2 hours for a single meeting and replacing that with just logging into Zoom will really give you and your team the time in order to capture that and feel comfortable doing so and not feel like you're going to be buried by the work. Yeah,
and other tech that we use, I mean, obviously Slack, I don't know how many people are using Slack, but it has been like a game changer, for us. And then also, as far as Google Drive, just like the coordination of like no more like it's sharing stuff on your local folder, like everything is on the drive. I think that's such a big change that people have made, especially over the last year. And there's so much free technology out there too. Try before you buy. But don't be scared to jump in and try new things, because I think it's really going to be a differentiator down the road, is how efficient are you running your business and what's the experience your customers have with you. So we're always looking for feedback on our side. So please do not hold back, but we are bullish on this recovery. I really thought September, that's what it was going to look like. But I feel like by July, there's going to be large scale safe events happening. And I could not be happier for the thousands of businesses that have felt a lot of pain over the last year. So thank you so much, Paul and Liron, for joining us. And Liron, we didn't have time to talk about your Hulu special. That will be over martinis in person. But if anyone hasn't seen the WeWorks documentary, Liron has a starring, at least 4 minutes in it. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, that was a great time.
Well, thanks everyone. Hope we see you in the next event, May 18th. And again, you need any help with PartySlate technology, we feel by helping the industry over the last year, it also raises awareness of PartySlate and what we have to offer and the problems that we're trying to solve. But it's become our mission to help provide great content week over week. And we can't wait to start doing it in person very soon. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate
Have
it.
a good day.
Thanks, PartySlate, for hosting.
Yes.
Happy to
100%.
host. Bye, guys.
Take care.